People ask me all the time, how you doing that? How you doing that? People ask me all the time.
What's going on, internet and every bitch-ass punk in the world?
Really, dude? Really?
We're back with episode 3.
Finally! We have a longer hiatus than fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, motherfuckers!
Oh, little Karibo. Anyway.
He's awesome, man. Let's just face it.
Yeah, let's praise the man, and let's praise Team 4-Star for their newest episode that dropped today of the recording.
Awesome. I gotta check that shit out.
But
yeah, so, Vince and I are back. What?
Yep. But first step is first. We gotta introduce the new topic today that's technically been introduced into the modern culture so deeply that people forget that it was first a Western thing before it was an Eastern thing, if we're all being a little bit more generous.
Nitpicky and pedantic?
A little bit. We're doing magical girls.
Yeah, magical girls. Okay, before we start, who is your favorite magical girl?
Well,
like, of all time. There's no shame here.
Well, out of every magical girl I've seen since I was a little baby to today, it's honestly still Sakura from Card Captors.
God damn it, you stole mine! I was gonna say Sakura. Look, come on, man. Card Captors. Card Captors is best, and it beats Sailor Moon. I know that I'm about to get crucified in the comments, but fuck you. Sailor Moon is less than great when compared to the awesomeness that is Sakura.
I mean...
And I can back this up with the fact that, let's face it, Sakura is supposed to be 10 years old, and Usagi is supposed to be 14 to 15 years old. 13, yeah. But still, Sakura is able to handle her shit better than Usagi ever could.
Well, that
like,
and the fact that a Time Witch was able to make a honest to goodness deal with the most powerful sorceress, that was confirmed to be Sakura. If you guys don't know what I mean, look up the Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles and Triple X Holic, since it's all the shared universe.
Oh, Clamp, never change.
But here is the whole thing about why we're bringing up magical girls. It's this honest to goodness thing I've been thinking of since I was over binge watching this new YouTube channel I've been obsessed about called Overly Sarcastic Productions, where even though
I will check them out.
Yeah, even though magical girls are from the steady genre of mystical girls that do witch or warlock type stuff, if you kind of break it down to it, early mythology kind of gave us the original magical girls of the gods and goddesses and the demigods, if you're going to be more typical.
This is true.
Like, I don't know...
I think...
Oh, go ahead, Anna. Go ahead.
What? Well, I think that, like, it's the idea that we've had powerful women, and definitely powerful female deities throughout time. I think what's kind of changed the magical girl is the creation of, and I hate to use this because it's become an overused word, but patriarchal religions. And what I mean by that is religions that focus on a male personification of a god and sort of take away that agency from women in a kind of way. Like paganism, it's a very gender equal religion. So you've got powerful goddesses and you got powerful gods, but like Judeo-Christian belief systems are, it's always God is a he, and therefore God is great because he. And so they kind of took that agency away from women, but women still wanted that, and women want powerful women, so it kind of morphed into the magical girl-esque thing, because let's face it, who doesn't want to watch some badass girl beat the crap out of some monsters? Which
is also true, where I know this might seem a stretch to anyone that has no idea what this trope is, but... and even to people that love this trope, but let's just be real here when it comes to how a magical girl works. It's usually someone that is kind of average or someone that is brought into these certain circumstances beyond their wildest imagination to then battle against supernatural beings. In the same sense, we had that in Western television of both live action as well as in various different forms of media of animated and comic book form. Key examples would be of Xena Warrior Princess, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Bo from Lost Girl, Annie from Being Human UK, and stuff from the DC lore that Anna brought back to my attention was of Starfire, Raven, Wonder Woman, Terra.
But I think that kind of, it depends on how the character is spaced. Like, to go back to like the whole Sakura, yes, I can't, but like to go back to the whole Sakura thing, think about it. It's kind of established in both the original Japanese and the American dub that she was already kind of doing things like not just cheerleading but baton. She was active, you know, she was doing gymnastics. So this whole idea that she has she can do these powerful moves and stuff while trying to capture a card and has the stamina to do that, it's more believable in my sense when you've got like someone like Usagi who is shown to be kind of a lazy misanthrope who doesn't really do anything. It becomes less believable.
Well, then again,
so I feel
all
like
the
it
other
only
Sailor
kind of
Scouts kind of carried her ass, so...
True, which I always felt was really bullshit because seriously, she's supposed to be like the leader of the Sailor Scouts. Fuck you, Sailor Saturn all the way. At least Sailor Saturn, you know, she's a badass, but she's not like, you know, weak. Although she's kind of a Deus Ex Machina, but yeah. I think also like when you look at Starfire and Raven, like yeah, with Raven she kind of gets these powers that are beyond her wildest dreams, but they don't treat Raven having her powers as something. Oh. You have Raven, who's kind of scared of her powers, and who has to, like, fight to keep control over them. And that's kind of sad. Also, the new animated DC canon, the new Raven is awesome, but Damian Wayne needs to die.
Everyone hates Damian Wayne.
For good reason.
Out of every Robin, yeah, Damian Wayne is the most hated.
This is true. But I think, like, magical girls aren't bad inherently. But I feel like if we're gonna deconstruct magical girls, we have to talk about Madoka, which I think got the closest to kind of deconstructing them. Not for always the best reason. I kind of don't like that she became Jesus in the end. It's really obnoxious. But the whole idea that, yeah, this could be a double-edged sword, I did kind of like. I like that it's not, you know, oh, it's all perfect, rainbows and puppies! You know, yeah, these are dark consequences. Was it handled that great? No.
God, no.
Did I like the Aniplex dub? Fuck no. But yeah. I think also, like, I don't think Starfire really counts as a magical girl. Or does she count as a magical girl because she's born with her powers?
Well,
technically, like she's Tamaranian.
Technically, Tamaranian powers are supposed to come from a brighter place, but in every single retcon for Coriander, it was usually she was a sex slave that kind of obtained her powers just trying to escape her captors, as well as what I've heard from my friend Julian in both Rebirth and the new 52. She was a sex slave, and she did meet the original Titans of Dick Grayson, Tempest, Wally
really?
West's Flash, Omen. Yeah.
This is why I don't read DC Comics anymore. They take something that was really good and then they just have to... Making something more edgy does not make it better. Just saying. Like, here's the thing that I kind of... Now I'm gonna go off the whole, like, Starfire backstory that comes from, what's it called? The original Teen Titans animated show, and yeah, the animated show. I feel like it was, she was a princess. I feel like that was, you know, it was taking the trope of the warrior princess and kind of taking it down to the level of someone who was trying to just learn as much as she could and become the best leader that she could. You know, she overthrows her sister because she doesn't feel that her sister is good for Tamarang. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But I just think that turning her into a sex slave takes away some of that agency, you know? It takes away the whole idea that she was a leader, and that she was a leader who had to make hard choices. I mean, for God's sake, she was going to be willing to marry someone she didn't even love for the good of her people. That has power, that has agency.
Oh, trust me, Starfire has been mistreated a lot by DC. Not only for her, but also Dick when they canceled her and Dick's wedding by having Raven get possessed by Trigun for the 3rd time. But,
for fuck's sake, they are best couple. I disagree with anyone else. Fuck you. Batgirl and Batman together forever, and yeah. My own shipper's guide to the universe in my own way. But then again, if we're gonna go with the whole idea of the magical girl, that we could even kind of put Poison Ivy in there with the whole magical girl idea.
Technically, yeah.
And I even think maybe even Harley could kind of be considered not a magical girl, but like close to one, if you really think about her.
Honestly, yeah.
I don't know. But I think that like magical girls as a trope, like with everything else, they can be used well. You know? I think that magical girls can be used as a framing device really well, but it really depends on the type of story they want to tell. You know?
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Let's see. My personal thoughts on magical girls. Well, I mean, as I gotta use this as like the 3 faces a guy can have as a consumer, as a father, and as a male.
Wait, you're a dad now?
I've been a dad for 9 years.
I didn't know that. Okay, sorry.
As a consumer, I see where the probability comes of trying to make a marketable standpoint of having someone very mystical take the front of being a hero. That is why a lot of people gravitate to Steven Universe and Starverses, since it has a lot of mystical women that are the leads in their own shows or stories, even if it has a male figure inside of it. I can see that being the same approach on the Eastern demographic as well, since various different Japanese, Chinese, and other different Asian cultures like to use that sort of stuff for their animation departments, since it kind of branches out more and more into Asian entertainment than it does for American, so it's not as prevalent to Westerners. But as
I can see that, but I think that it's also, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah?
No, I wanted you to continue.
I think that, like, from a consumer standpoint, I get it. The reason why, it's kind of the whole Disney effect. You know, let's face it, their most popular movies have females as their leads, as princesses, because you can sell a lot of products that way. You can sell dresses, you can sell cosmetics, you can market a lot of things off of being a pretty girl, in the way that you kind of can't do that with being a guy.
This is sad, but true.
I mean, for fuck's sake, how many cosmetics have come out for, like, making the Sailor Moon pendant into, like, an actual compact? And,
Good
like,
point.
in the Japanese market, cosmetics are huge. Almost as huge. I think even, like, in the Korean, like, it goes Korea, Japan, and then the United States when it comes to the consumption of cosmetics, you know?
Yep. But
so what about it as, like, a dad?
As a dad, when it comes to, whenever I'm thinking about this as, like,
Yeah?
it's a good appeal for women everywhere to grow up and see a female hero like this, but also certain female protagonists that follow the trope of being a magical girl aren't good role models. I mean, as much as people like to praise the new Wonder Woman movie, let's be kind of frank on Diana Prince's history as a character. In the entire inception that Diana Prince has been inside of the fictional medium, she has not been always the perfect role model. In fact, when she was first written, she was kind of one of the worst written heroes I've ever seen in my life. And even when they did Elseworld stories, she was kind of a vindictive asshole that, although a magical girl by many properties, being born from the gods, being formed by clay, she's caused 2 different wars that have killed thousands of lives. First in Flashpoint and now in the Injustice franchise, both of which caused by Wonder Woman.
This is true, and I think, thinking about, like, talking about the new Wonder Woman movie, I think what people aren't realizing why the Wonder Woman movie is so great isn't just because, well, it's Wonder Woman from the forming for DC. Grim and dark. She actually has character, and, you know, her, for the most part, except for the last 5 minutes, which are kind of just like, what the fuckery, she has a bit more of a cohesive story. They hide certain things and all this other stuff. But with Wonder Woman, she had kind of a rock history because comics, well, but they never seem to want to write Wonder Woman in a way that would... how do I say this? I don't really know. It's like... awesome, I think. I think she had a lot of potential, but in the beginning, yeah, she sucked. She was nothing more than a female Superman, and a worse-written Superman. And now with Injustice and stuff like that, they've kind of screwed her a lot, because I feel like she didn't have a put-down personality at the beginning, kind of the way Batman and Eve-Man have, you know?
Yeah.
Think about it, Batman's always been brooding, but he had, like, there were motivations there. And with Superwoman, they haven't really ever gone into her character too much. Throughout enough that we, without kind of having to go within degrees. As a consumer, yeah, I was really happy that the Wonder Woman movie didn't suck.
Yes.
Because, let's face it, has been going to shit unless it's like the animated movies, and even then.
But, I guess the final phase I can really say this as a male itself, honestly, I couldn't really care if there was just this trope or just the solo heroine trope that we've all come to grace our screens and our novels and our everything else about entertainment, because it's a more diverse market now than it has been in a long time for this trope. Does it appeal to me on a good level as a writer myself? Not at all. Not at all. Because sometimes when you write a magical girl, you never know when you're going to cross the line that offends so many people. Where no matter what character that you make, as well crafted as it is, you always have to make sure you don't cross that line into a very dark place.
I think it's also sort of the problem of the climate that we find ourselves in right now. I mean, you remember, to go back to Wonder Woman, they were going to have a couple screenings of the Wonder Woman movie that were going to be female only. And it was for charity, it was kind of basically... yeah, it was just for charity, it was just like, you know, a girls' night out sort of thing, and people turned it into this huge fucking deal. And here's the thing, 10 minutes later, you could have gone to a screening of Wonder Woman. It was just 10 minutes later than this girls' night out screening. But people still freaked the fuck out about it, and so much so that the governor of Texas and the mayor of Austin, where this was happening, got letters. It's so I think it kind of has to be, you know, when you write about a trope, you have to think about the core demographic and understand that there's going to be someone who's offended. Because let's face it, there are people who get offended by everything and who just kind of go online to look for something to be offended at, you know?
Yeah.
Hell, I know people who are offended by the fact that Sakura is, you know, Sakura became the master of the cloud cards and not Lee.
I mean, it wasn't Lee's story.
Like, I know people who freak out. I know it wasn't. But there have been people that, like, I've talked about how much I loved card captors, and they're like, oh, that's so anti-man. It's like...
what?
How? I mean, let's face it, Lee is treated just as importantly as Sakura, but it's not his story. He's a side character.
His story is Tsubasa
I don't know.
Reservoir
I
Chronicles.
think that we just kind of live in a time where everyone wants to be offended by everything. Huh?
That's Lee's story, Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles. But he's not the titular character, it's Sakura.
Exactly, and I think we live in a time where it's just, like, magical girls are awesome. I think it just kind of depends on the story that they're placed in and if the story is good or not. But I think we also have to deal with the fact that there are going to be people who are offended by anything. I mean, from people for saying that I like... What was it? I said that I like pizza over a hamburger once at my school's cafeteria, and people just acted so fucking offended by that. Like, what, you don't support the beef industry, blah, blah, blah. It's like, the burgers here are shit. The pizza's better. Get off my ass. But yeah, you know, I think that that's just sort of the world we live in. Do I want to see more female media? Fuck yeah. But I want to also see more LGBT media. I want to see more media that is okay with having storylines that don't follow the traditional hero's journey. I would like to see more of that, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I got nothing else to say about Magical Girls. What about you?
No, it's just so many things that have gone wrong with this that I honestly hope that the future of this turns out a lot better than how it's supposed to have been.
I think it will, and I don't think it will. I really think I think that it really depends on the anime landscape. And I don't think that we're gonna be having as much magical girl anime because it's not as profitable as it used to be. I mean, if you look at what was really big last season or like last year in the anime community, it wasn't really a lot of magical girl stuff. It was really just Yuri on Ice and, you know,
My Hero Academia.
My Hero Academia. People want stories that they can connect to on a lot of levels. Like, I could connect to Yuri's story a lot more than I think I could connect to, like, say, a Sailor Moon story. Just because it's like, yeah, I get it. I understand working your ass off to be great at something, and then, or like, you know, having to come to terms with the person you are. Usagi, it's like, be anything like her, you know? Like, what's there to really like about Usagi? Just a brat.
I was gonna be like, not a fucking thing.
And, like, let's face it, with Madoka, she's a blank fucking slate within her entire story. Like, she doesn't really change over time. She's like, oh, I might want to be a magical girl. It's grim and dark and bad. You shouldn't do it. I don't know. I want to save my friends. What should I do? Don't become a magical girl.
Don't trust the cute little fox thing.
Don't trust a cute thing that keeps going, contract, every 5 fucking seconds. But, like, even Sakura, I feel like she, though, had a little bit more of something you could connect to. Even, like, old school Starfire and Raven, there's something you can connect to, and I think that's what female audiences want. They want something that they can see as powerful, but that they can connect to. We don't want something perfect, we want something at some point, you know? Something obtainable. And you can't really get that from a lot of modern-day magical girls.
Yeah. But unfortunately, our time is up for this episode. So episode 4, since we're doing mix-ups of tropes and shit, how about we also take apart one of the biggest thing about male edgelords?
Oh, that's gonna be fun. You and I are gonna die.
Oh no, I'm gonna be high off my ass. We'll be fine.
Okay, whatever you say, Vince. It's nice to talk to you guys again. Hope you guys are doing well. And I will see you in the next one.
Alright, and I would use my outro of this, but I already tell you guys all the time, these videos aren't owned by me because they're mostly a property of Anna's brand, and if you want to help bring her on the channel more and more, go in the description below and go to her Patreon, become a patron today. Just saying.
I'd appreciate it. I have like 0 money. I need money.
We all need money, dear. Anyway, ciao for now.
До свидания.
It's easy to say you need